Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clark on YouTube. Oh no! I love how thousands of people really love this channel and are really excited about the content that's uploaded every week. Thank you guys so much for coming together and making this one of the best Disney YouTube channels in the entire world. I never thought in my wildest imagination I would be sitting here today with over 1,000 plus subscribers. Precisely 1,106 of you have subscribed to this YouTube channel, and I can't even begin to put into words how appreciative I am of it. Thank you guys so much. I know I've been promising you a lot of content on this YouTube channel. You're going to have to give me some time. I'm producing videos all the time, but they will eventually be uploaded and made public for each and every one of you by the time the edits get into it. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about on this YouTube channel. I've been watching the previews for the upcoming reboot of Phineas and Ferb. I know a lot of people are really excited about the original cast coming back for the first time in what feels like forever. I'm really excited about it too because I was forever a fan of Phineas and Ferb, much like each and every one of you. I've been paying a lot of attention to what's been happening with the Zombies 4 movie. Of course, Dawn of the Vampires. Everybody's really excited about the release date now being confirmed for October 24th, 2025 on Disney+. Really excited about that one because I think this is the first time ever that vampires are going to be introduced into a saga that first introduced us to zombies, and then we went from zombies to werewolves, and we went from werewolves eventually to aliens by the third installment. Now I think everything is coming together for one big blast on Disney Plus. We've got a lot of movies in the box office. Lilo and Stitch coming to theaters on May 23rd. That will be the day before my birthday. So my birthday falls on a Saturday this year. I will be here for that. A lot of stuff to talk about. And this weekend, actually, is WrestleMania weekend. So we've got WrestleMania happening on Saturday and Sunday. So I've been following that. I can't say that after being a wrestling podcaster for what feels like my entire life that I'm really happy about John Cena turning on all of you, claiming that he's going to leave the wrestling industry as the greatest champion of all time because he knows he's going to die. I promise each and every one of you, while John Cena may be planning to leave the wrestling industry as the greatest champion of all time and forget about each and every one of you, I will never retire. And I will never retire after almost 30 years doing this, 27 years to be exact. I believe this is going to be my 28th year. I have had the most fun in my entire life producing videos for you and what you appreciate. And obviously what you appreciate is a lot of fun facts, a lot of fun content revolving around your favorite Disney stars. Disney Channel exploded in the early thousands, and it seems like they've been exploding ever since. I mean, we saw the introduction of stars like Miley Cyrus. We saw the introduction of stars like Selena Gomez, the introduction of stars like Demi Lovato, the Jonas Brothers. And then we went from that to Kylie Contrail, Ruby Rose Turner, Dove Cameron, Sabrina Carpenter. Disney Channel has really had this really unique way of distributing stars and making us all eventually, if not from the get-go, fall in love with each and every one of them. And one of the ones that I've noticed, that's the reason why my lights are the color of her. I tried to get spectral lights that were the color of every Disney character that you loved, especially the stars of Descendants. That's the reason why my lights are purple today, because we are celebrating the birthday of Kenny Ortega, who many of you may remember as the inspiration and director behind such classics as High School Musical, Hannah Montana, the Jonas Brothers World Tour. There are so many great things that he's created, but one of them that stands out amongst all of them is Descendants. And if not for Kenny Ortega's contribution as a director, whom we are celebrating the birthday of, I believe he's 74, 75 today. April 18th was Kenny Ortega's birthday. And I have to apologize because I was meaning to release this video about Kenny Ortega forever ago because I follow the birthdays of celebrities and I've got so much going on, so much to talk about, so much that I like, so much that I don't like about entertainment and what's happening in it. But, I try to get around to talking about everything. So this birthday celebration of Kenny Ortega, I noticed that a lot of people were really jumping on it because we have so many fans of Descendants who are subscribed to this YouTube channel. As I mentioned, over 1,000 of you have subscribed to this YouTube channel. I'm very appreciative of it. I have this habit where I put my hand on my chin. Forgive me for that. I've produced over 4,000 videos over the years. But I realize how appreciative each and every one of you are of Kenny Ortega. I've appreciated each and every one of your posts from your fan pages that you have on social media outlets like Facebook, Social media platforms like Facebook, X, Instagram, everybody is blowing up about their favorite celebrities' birthdays, and one of them that can be highlighted is Kenny Ortega. I've been a fan of Kenny Ortega ever since at least 1992, 1993. He's produced at least 15 huge musicals for the Disney company. They paid him an instrumental amount to produce the Descendants trilogy, the original one. I'm kind of really upset that he's not having anything to do with Descendants 4, The Rise of Red. He's not having anything to do with Descendants 5. Some rumors are saying they're calling this one Descendants Forever. Some of the cast members look absolutely outstanding. Some of the ones that are going to be making their premiere in this one. I know Jennifer Fang is doing an incredible job. And I'm not taking anything away from her credibility, but I think a lot of people would prefer the original cast and the original producers and directors to come in and do something with this one, because everybody was a fan of Kenny Ortega ever since they were a child, ever since they knew how to talk and knew what Disney was and what Kenny Ortega represented and who Kenny Ortega was. I think there never was a person out there who never publicly admitted on a microphone. I know I never have in 25 years admitted that I was never a fan of Kenny Ortega. There's always that argument if Jenna and Kenny are actually related by family and bloodline, but they're not. But the thing is, I was always a huge fan of him because it's just his passion and his desire to want to create was something that really stood out to me about Kenny Ortega. And just how much fun he had, collaborating with people, the choreographing of the dance numbers. I mean, he could work with anybody who could come in there with no dance experience whatsoever, no background of dancing whatsoever, like Dove Cameron and Mitchell Hope, who played Ben in Descendants, and of course Dove Cameron, we all know her portrayal of Mal, absolutely fantastic. This was somebody who came in with no dance experience whatsoever, and immediately at the snap of her fingers picked it up. The producers knew she had potential, and that's why we saw her achieve so much success, not only with Descendants, but outside of Descendants too. She also had a lot of opportunities with Marvel. She had a lot of animated opportunities with Marvel to do voiceover work, and who wouldn't want to do voiceover work? I've been wanting to do voiceover work for forever. I've wanted to be the narrator of the Descendants script. The guy telling the story over the microphone that you don't see. Like how there's consequences with time, and you can't expect to alter time and not see consequences from your altering of it. I would love to be the voice of Descendants, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that probably would love to see me as the voice of Descendants too, by how you're subscribing to this YouTube channel. High School Musical for me was probably one of the movies that Kenny Ortega did that really jumped at me as an opportunity, a pedestal for a lot of people to jump off of, a plank, if you would, into superstardom. But for me, what got it all done, I'll tell you about how I sat behind in a movie theater with hundreds of people. I was probably the only dude there watching High School Musical that actually had a vast interest in it. But what really got it started for me with Kenny Ortega was Hocus Pocus back in 1993. His friendship with Kathy and Jimmy, who played one of the witches in that, and actually the reboot a couple of months ago. The thing was, or a couple of years ago rather, the thing was, Hocus Pocus was such a fun movie. It was always your go-to movie for a Halloween movie. Now, it will be debated whether or not The Nightmare Before Christmas is one of the greatest animated classics of all time. 1993, 1994 was a great year to be a fan of Disney animation. Tim Burton did a fantastic job with that, and I love seeing Tim Burton creating. I saw his reboot of Beetlejuice a couple of months back, and Jenna Ortega doing a fantastic job as the daughter of Lydia. I love what Hollywood is doing with these reboots, by the way. I know a lot of people, the internet will smash me for being so supportive of these reboots. But the thing is, I love what Hollywood does with it, 25, 30 years later. Yeah, the story makes so much sense. In terms of a storyboard, some of these movies like Beetlejuice made so much sense. Now, a lot of you will probably criticize me for saying, you're a fan of stuff like Beetlejuice and Hocus Pocus because you watched it for over 30 years, and that's exactly the reason why I'm such a huge fan of it. Ever since I knew how to talk and knew what movies like Hocus Pocus and High School Musical were, I immediately jumped on the fan wagon, if you would, and I've been riding it ever since. And I will continue to ride it off into the sunset, no matter how many critics we have of this sort of stuff out there. We saw how the spirits of the witches, disappeared in the Hocus Pocus sequel. A lot of people weren't really into the Hocus Pocus sequel, but ironically enough, if you attended Halloween parties the year that Hocus Pocus came out, which I believe was September of 2022, just a couple of weeks before Halloween. By the way, I will be here on Halloween with a special video blog for you. We'll talk about zombies or Hocus Pocus or something revolving around this Disney. Obviously, it'll be Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, because it comes out a week before, exactly 1 week precisely before Halloween. But if you notice anything about the people who actually critically reviewed Hocus Pocus 2, every Halloween party that year, the one movie they had on Disney Plus while they were serving snacks and stuff at the Halloween parties was Hocus Pocus 2. I actually went to my cousin's Halloween party. I think I dressed up as Jason. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they had I didn't show up with a costume or anything. I have lots of costumes. I have Batman, I have the Incredible Hulk and stuff, but I forgot my Halloween costume that night. Whatever happened, I must have been in quite a tear. I was watching reboots of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that night, and I went there. I dressed up as Jason. He had this Jason mask. He's like, you have to dress up as something. They were dressed up as Harry and Merv. They were a couple, so they were dressed up as Harry and Merv. And I felt kind of out of place. They gave me this Jason mask, and I put it on, and I was Jason, took a lot of pictures. But one thing I noticed about the Halloween party is that everybody was, stop laughing, everybody was watching Hocus Pocus 2 because they remembered the original, and they wanted to experience the original no matter how critical they were of it. People had some really negative things to say about Hocus Pocus, said it should never have been created or redistributed to this new generation. But I will admit to you that I found it really hard getting into Hocus Pocus 2, and I reviewed it on a couple of videos I did a while ago. But the thing was, it was so fun seeing the original cast, and ultimately I think that's what gets these reboots over, is the fact that you can have these reboots happening and everybody will just gravitate to it because they know the original cast are there. I was kind of really upset that Zachary Binks wasn't in this one. I think Jason Mraz actually was the voice of the cat, or one of the cast members of Goofy. A Goofy movie was actually in that movie, and I was really disappointed he wasn't in it. But one thing I noticed about that year, when the Hocus Pocus reboot came out, everybody was watching it, no matter how critical they were of it, and that's the reason why Hocus Pocus 3 is coming out. Because you go back, 30 years ago to Kenny Ortega. He was in his early 30s, and he was trying to create something special for Disney. He was paid up in the millions to do it, and he did such a fantastic job. You fast forward to High School Musical 3, the first big budget movie for the High School Musical cast that actually went to the theater, and it generated millions in revenue. 2008, October of 2008, I had a really good relationship with my dad. Me and my dad used to go to a lot of Disney movies together, and High School Musical gave me some of my most fondest memories. Being a guy who would love to go to the local theater, just 5 minutes out the road, when it was in business before it burnt to the ground years ago. There's always one thing about movie theaters. No matter what you talk about in relation to them, there's always some kind of spooky story to their disintegration. But I remember going to the local theater, seeing this one, and I remember seeing so many people being so appreciative of High School Musical 3 and being so excited that it was the first time this one was going to be a big budget movie on the big screen. It didn't really have millions distributed for the distribution of this one, but it ultimately became one of the biggest box office hits for Disney of that generation. And that's why the argument has always been presented that if not for movies like High School Musical, if not for that one movie trilogy, the other movies and projects for Disney Channel, either a TV series or movie, everything would have faded off into obscurity. And I stand to that. Because you look at High School Musical 2's premiere in 2007, which was a year after the original had premiered in October of that year, and High School Musical 2 had the most viewers in the history of a Disney Channel TV series or movie. I remember that night when High School Musical 2 premiered. There was an episode of Hannah Montana with both Miley Cyrus and all the Jonas Brothers starring in it. It was called Me, You, and Jonas or something, and it had millions of people watching it. But then you look at the viewership for High School Musical 2, and it skyrocketed to superstardom and popularity with over, I think it was something like 2.7 million people tuned into that. That's crazy. And it became the highest rated sequel for a Disney Channel movie, the follow up to High School Musical, in the history of Disney Channel. Notwithstanding the star power you had in this one, the contributions of Ashley Tisdale, whom I'm a really huge fan of and everything she's got going on now. Really excited about seeing her coming back, hopefully for Phineas and Ferb's reboot by June of 2025. Amazing work. And again, it goes back to how much passion Kenny Ortega had for this kind of thing. The passion that Kenny Ortega packed behind all of his movies was incredible. And then look what he did for Miley Cyrus, her world tour with the Jonas Brothers. He choreographed that. He had some assistance with Hannah Montana, the TV series. I mean, everything that he did was just absolutely incredible. And then here he comes with this amazing trilogy, Descendants, which had I think it was a $10 million budget by the time the series finale, Descendants 3, finished up. And I think that's why a lot of people are really criticizing the newer cast of Descendants. But I think that more people, as time goes on, are, finding time and appreciating it. I fell in love with Kylie Contrell. I fell in love with Ruby Rose Turner because I remember them on shows like Raven's Home. I remember her on her web show, Hello Kylie, when she would review some of my favorite TV shows of all time, Sam and Cat, which was a series that, I really wish could have lasted longer. One season, 35 episodes, didn't do that show justice. But I remember these really awesome videos she used to post. I was one of the first people to subscribe to it. I loved it, and I've been very appreciative of Kylie Contrell ever since. And I want to go on record for saying that she had one of the best web shows of all time. Some of her newer music is amazing. If you haven't seen it, go to her Facebook fan page. It is amazing, the music videos that are collaborated for her music and the views she's getting and the response is absolutely incredible, notwithstanding the response this YouTube channel is getting, and the love and emotion that Ruby Rose Turner packs behind her character Bridget is something that I cannot go without appreciating. I will always be a diehard fan of Ruby Rose Turner. She is one of the reasons why the Rise of Red franchise really got over for me, why the merchandise is doing so well, and why the promotion is at an all-time high for this one. But Kenny Ortega's contribution to the original Descendants, that's the reason why we see things like the sequel for The Rise of Red, and why we're seeing Descendants 5, or whatever they're going to be calling it by the time it's released in the summer of 2026. This is why we're seeing this world tour, because he was the all-time greatest choreographer of all time. And I'm going to be showing you a piece of footage where he sits down and he talks about the original Descendants movie, not Descendants 2, not Descendants 3, not the Rise of Red stuff we're seeing now, but the original Descendants, and I found it really cool just how appreciative he was of it. I found it really cool how he was always the first one to be interviewed when they ever had a media appearance or they had to do stuff for the press. He was always the first one to jump in and say, "Hey, Descendants, is everybody ready to go?" It's 75 years old. He still has got what it takes to produce great movies. Great stuff. I may never be a professional wrestler or be the greatest podcaster of all time, but at least we know Kenny Ortega is going to be the greatest of all time in the way of choreographing and producing. And you're saying to yourself, yeah, Jonathan, your YouTube channel is exploding in popularity. I'm going to subscribe now. The thing is, this YouTube channel needs you to hit the subscribe button. I put that in the description of the video because we do need you to hit the subscribe button. The thing is, you have all these AI videos telling you to hit the subscribe button, but you never see who's behind the AI videos. You never see, who's promising you this Descendants content that they're creating because it's all done by AI. This YouTube channel is created by a genuine guy who loves Descendants as much as each and every one of you, and all I want you to do is hit the subscribe button, because without you, this YouTube channel cannot rise in popularity. Nobody else can find us. The thing is, every single time somebody hits the subscribe button, be it the reason why it's in the description or why I'm talking about it and putting so much emphasis on it, is because every time somebody hits the subscribe button, you do what's called pushing the videos and the content out for the YouTube algorithm to recognize that these videos are being produced no matter how long you watch it for, if you watch them at all. The YouTube algorithm doesn't care how many times you upload, how many videos you have on your YouTube channel, how many people you have subscribed. It cares about the subscribers that you have watching the videos, and every single time someone who's previously subscribed watches the videos, the algorithm picks it up, pushes it out there so somebody else out there can find it. And I think there are a lot of Descendants fans out there. There are 10 million of you on social media. So with that being said, at least 5 million of you can subscribe to this YouTube channel and help me beat out these other YouTube channels that have millions of subscribers. Cut a guy some slack. Hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to do that. What do you say we watch this video together? It's been a while since I've had anything to do or watched any footage having anything to do with the original Descendants, so I'm really excited to hear what Kenny Ortega had to say around the premiere of this one, which was back in 2015. It's hard to believe it's been a decade since the premiere of Descendants. Just between you and me, I think where my house was built is cursed. Because every time I talk about Disney folklore, it's always dark and gloomy and really spooky outside, and I'm scared to go out through the door because of zombies coming up through the ground. stuff flying out of the sky, picking me up and going on with me. A lot of spooky stuff happens around this house, especially a lot of banging in the nighttime. Really fits appropriately with how we're talking about zombies and descendants and all kinds of folklore. It's really cool. And I studied folklore years ago, and every time I look out through the window when I'm recording Descendants videos, it's really spooky outside. It's almost as if Maleficent's put a curse on my house and there's thorns around it magically. And you're saying to yourself, you really believe what you're talking about, don't you? Yeah, I do, because it makes the videos that much more fun. Guys, if you haven't rang the bell, make sure you do. Hit the subscribe button. Ring the bell to stay up to date with what's happening on this YouTube channel. Tell your friends about it. You're going to want to do that. Let's watch this interview together.
Like happily ever after that I could imagine. This is like happily ever after, like street style and teenage and all of that.
Well, it's actually, you know, the movie takes place 20 years after Happily Ever After. You know, it's a contemporary fairy tale, live action.
Oh, it's fun. I've been looking at the clips. It looks great.
And it focuses primarily on the 4 teenage descendants of some of the most evil heritage characters in Disney history.
Okay, so you got, and who's playing? I know Kristen Chenoweth is in this.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Kathy and Jimmy, which is
Kathy
so
and Jimmy, who I
Oh,
adore. You know,
best.
we go all the way back to Hocus Pocus together. Maz Jobrani, who plays Jafar. And Wendy Raquel Robinson, that plays Cruella de Vil.
How fun is this? I love seeing Disney's been doing a lot of this at the box office, reimagining these old Disney tales from a new perspective. It is so interesting to see them now doing it on the Disney
Keep it
Channel.
fresh.
Well, this is a fresh take for sure. It's a kind of reinvention, you know, and to see the work that that our villains have put into reimagining these characters, and the work that the kids have put into creating a new generation of characters for Disney.
Well, and you have a magical knack, I think, of finding these young, talented dancers slash actors, actresses, and that's. I didn't realize the choreographer actually helps do that. I mean, you actually help with the casting.
Yeah,
right?
well, I'm the director and choreographer and even the producer on this one, so I work very closely with Disney and all of our casting folks, and these kids have all been put through a tremendous workshop prior to being cast. You know, you have to know who you're getting into business with by the time you go into rehearsals.
When you're looking at young talent, do you look primarily for a job like this? Do you look for dancers? Do you look at actors? Or which comes first? Or does it matter?
Every role really is different, you know, and it's you have to look at the particular role and decide, you know, what your priorities are, you know, and here we were really looking for strong, brave, intelligent, you know, actors with imagination, you know, and music and dance were certainly a plus. And we had it with Sophia Carson, and we had it with Boo Boo and Cameron. Dove and Mitchell Hope, 2 of our other stars, you know, came in with very little dance background. But everybody, you know, raised the bar and went in there and came out, you know, like champs.
How rewarding is that for you to give these young actors their first shot? Like Cameron was just saying just a moment ago, you gave her a 10 on Dance with the Stars.
So excited.
You impact people's careers for the rest of their lives. How does that feel?
It's great. It brings me great, you know, joy and you know, to wake up in the morning and know that, you know, I'm heading into a project like this with the kind of young people that I'm working with who always come to the day, you know, ready, you know, and ready to party, ready to bring something to the party.
Like this one here, like Breck. Every morning, ready to party.
Yeah. Exactly. Although
well, you look like you partied all night.
Hey.
You know what? Dirty Dancing, of course, we mentioned that you did that, and all those iconic scenes. These 2, without knowing that you were coming in this week, actually tried to. Maria,
we did the lift. We tried to do the lift.
They tried doing the lift. I would love you to do the lift for Kenny and see if he could critique it.
Than physical.
I could get her up. She's like 92 pounds.
Now you
wet,
want to try it without the water as a safety?
Yes,
No,
Just
try
it. No?
Sandstone. I mean, she wears such short skirts every day. It makes it so difficult. Sandstone.
I could teach you some of the dance moves from Descendants. I mean,
yeah. He'll take that.
Please, no. I'm too. You know what I learned at a very young age? I'm too tall for dance. I'm just too tall for it. I can move. I can't dance.
Tommy Tune.
Oh, you know what? I think Josh Kaplan, our executive producer, said the same thing to me a few months ago. Here, call me Tommy Tune.
You have a big day coming up because your dear friend, Kristen Chenoweth, who we adore, it's a big day for her.
It's her birthday. I'm going to be one of the folks that is honoring her this afternoon on the, receiving her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And tonight, she'll be joined by the cast members and our team for a fantastic Descendants premiere at the Walt Disney Studios.
Wow. She's getting her star right in front of the Pantages as well. This is so appropriate.
It is.
I actually got offered. I was supposed to interview her for that, and because I'm here, I chose you. It shows you. So send her my love.
Yeah,
She's one of the
certainly will.
best.
She is extraordinary, incomparable, really, truly
Really.
wonderful.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing the movie The Descendants premieres next Friday
July
night,
31st, I believe.
31st,
Yeah.
on the Disney Channel.
That's right. And you can see the 6-minute
It's out there.
preview
That's what I was watching.
on
the 6-minute
Disney.com and on Disney's YouTube page.
And it is sweet. It is really
Yeah,
sweet.
pretty
So,
excited about it.
So cool.
You can cut your SaaS spending in half with this one tool.
Yeah, you can go to Disney's YouTube page, or you can just subscribe to this one. You know, Disney's Descendants YouTube page has like, I don't know, 11 million subscribers. I could really use 11 million subscribers, but that's just me just saying. There's a little bell right there. Ring it. Because when you do ring it, you boost the confidence of this YouTube channel, and more Descendants fans just like you who have found this thumbnail and found this video will find this content, find time appreciating it, and we can all enjoy this great content together. You can also leave me your feedback in the comments. I really appreciate it. Give me a second to switch over to the other program, and we will close this thing out. Whew. Yeah, so if we can have a secret between all of us who have subscribed to this YouTube channel, you can subscribe to Disney's YouTube channel, or you can subscribe to this one. This YouTube channel will exceed the expectations of anyone in the way of popularity. Disney will find out about it, start following the YouTube channel. They will call me to be the narrator of Descendants, make a cameo in every single one of the sequels, and then I will become legendary. You know, 1,000 subscribers has already made me legendary, but it's not legendary enough. And it can only happen if you hit the subscribe button and help me achieve my dream of hunting vampires after sunset with a black leather jacket on, which I have in my closet that I haven't worn in years. There's just something about hunting vampires and werewolves in the nighttime that I find very exuberating and exhilarating. But that can only happen. I can only jump into action if each and every one of you hit the subscribe button. Stop laughing. Guys, I can't seriously thank you enough for all the support you have given this YouTube channel and my desire of wanting to be a hit Hollywood star box office smash as a butt kicker of vampires and werewolves in the nighttime, which I do when I don't produce videos for each and every one of you. That's why there's a window there. I jump through it every night. But thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. Really appreciating my love and passion for things such as Disney and Marvel. Really big fan of Spider-Man and Hulk. Will never ever think they are not real. Anyone who thinks superheroes are real, they do exist. And that is my positive message for today. If you want to believe that Spider-Man and the Hulk are real, believe it. Because superheroes are real. And I still believe that one day Spider-Man will jump down from out of the sky and save me. And Batman will drive by in the Batmobile and ask me to go for a ride. There is nothing wrong with that. If you do anything, hit the subscribe button. Continue to support this YouTube channel with your love and support. I can't thank you enough. Bye, YouTube. We will do it again in a couple of days.